Chapter 5. Set out on the long ride. Working for your accomplishments and building confidence in your investment strategy are also important aspects of retirement planning and life. Would you pedal all out for the first mile of a ride? Maybe for a quick afternoon ride, but when you're setting up your investment life, you know you're planning for the long haul. When you do that, it's important to remember you should be pacing yourself for the century, 100 miles. You're going to run out of steam if you pedal all out without holding something back. It may be fun for a while, but you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Time in the market is much more powerful than timing the market. That means small and steady investments will grow over time. Trying to buy low and sell high is a recipe for missing opportunities. Nobody can time the market. You have to stay in it to win it. The earlier you get in and the more you put in while you're young and during your working years, the more you'll enjoy the fruits of your labors and your investments. Investing for retirement is like going on a century-long bike ride. At the beginning of the journey, it may seem daunting, especially when you see the uphill climb ahead. Who looks at the long, steep road and doesn't get daunted? Even the most confident people may have some pause. But with the right mindset and strategies, you'll eventually make it to the top. And then comes the best part, enjoying the downhill ride. Wind in your hair, nothing but fun and blue skies ahead. Work for your accomplishments. Just like in biking, in which you have to go uphill to enjoy the downhill ride, investing requires contributions that may cause some short-term pain in your budget. But these contributions are necessary for your future financial security. Sure, it's fun to take money from that raise and put it toward a new toy or a great vacation. Who doesn't want to do that? But planning for retirement is setting yourself up for the long ride. Your contributions have a delayed gratification element that, let's face it, may be short-term pain in your budget. They may mean a slightly less fancy car or a tighter belt on eating out or planning vacations. Maybe you'll take more local long weekend trips to get away and recharge instead of that full week in Hawaii. Not forever, but as you build your retirement, it's about making choices. Spending everything you can now means not planning for the future. It's common to hear people say, I don't have room in my budget for investments, or I have to focus on college expenses or buying a house first. There's always a perfectly good reason to put off planning for retirement. Life throws a lot of challenges our way. Kids are expensive. Houses turn out to be bigger money pits than we anticipated. Throw in a few unexpected illnesses or need to care for an elder, and you've got the makings of real financial struggle. But here's the deal. Delaying investment contribution only prolongs your uphill climb. The sooner you start contributing, the sooner you can start enjoying the benefits of investing. The reality is that if you're lucky, you'll outlive your ability to work full-time. Even if you love what you do, there may come a time when you won't be able to do it at a pace you're doing it now. If you're like a lot of people, you may not even want to do it forever. If you dream of living on a boat in a sunny location or spending your golden years on cruise ships with constant margarita refills, or even if you dream of opening up a little shop where you can tinker and be a local fixture well into your 80s, those dreams cost money. You're working hard, and you deserve to not just have what you want now, but what you're going to want when the bones creak a little more. And you don't get up with the same spring in your step that you have today. Don't get me wrong. You may be spry and healthy well into your 9th or 10th decade. That's even more reason to plan and save. It's no fun to outlive your money. And with the right planning, you never have to. Confidence is everything. Achieving your goals builds confidence, whether you're submitting a steep hill or you're clearing a technical section on a trail. But it also takes confidence. It takes believing the path you've charted for yourself is the right one. In investing, having confidence in your advisor, your retirement plan, and the power of long term market trends is crucial to making your plan work. As the stock market ebbs and flows, it's essential to remember that declines are temporary and advancements are permanent. Panic selling may seem like the right decision during a downturn, but the highest value of an advisor is to impress upon you not to lose faith. Even if all your advisor does is steer you away from making panic moves when the markets are down, they've already made you back the money you paid them and then some. What we do with clients, instead of making predictions about timing and performance, is we approach financial planning almost like behavioral coaching. That's because, on the inside, whether we admit it or not, we all have a bit of a dark side. That's why we all love Star Wars, right? A little part of us is Darth Vader. Hopefully, an even bigger part is Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. And maybe some days the balance changes from light to dark and back again. I'm partially kidding, of course. Hopefully no one is reading this and looking to destroy galaxies, but I use the Star Wars as an example because it's timeless. It just keeps going on forever, it seems. And it's just got those characters that are very pronounced archetypes for people we meet every day. We all understand the phenomenon of taking fear and going to the dark side with it. I like the acronym for fear that says it's false evidence appearing real, FEAR. That's a particularly powerful acronym to remember in relation to your investments. One day, you'll turn on the television and find the markets are down 3%, straight across the board. Some days, the number is 4%, some 2.5%. And there have been times when that happens for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Or if you're paying attention during COVID-19, you may remember going straight down like a lead balloon, crazy fast, something like 35% drop with no end in sight. So what happens at that moment? If you're like a lot of my clients, even those who have been faithfully investing for a while, chances are good you're looking at it and thinking, I'm going to lose everything I ever worked for. And what was that reaction? That was fear, not reality. Yes, even during the crazy COVID-19. Ask yourself, what are the chances that every company you know and love would go out of business all at the same time? Think about the reality of that. Even with something as all-encompassing as the pandemic shutdown, a complete collapse of every company all at once is really unthinkable. At that point, we'd be talking about going into the Stone Age barter system, the kind of thing that happens only in movies. If that happened, why would we be worried about 401ks? We'd all be thinking about what we've got to trade and protect ourselves. If that kind of cataclysmic event actually happened, you wouldn't be worried about US dollars, 401ks, or retirement. You'd be worried about survival, soup and a gun. This brings me to a concept you've probably heard of, going to gold. Whenever the economy gets a little wobbly, you'll hear people talking about putting their money in gold. Gold is interesting because it's the ultimate fear trade. Think about your reality. Say you did put your money in gold and the ultimate crash did happen and now you've got this room full of gold in your house. Don't think about some made-up future. Think about the house or apartment you live in right now. Think about those locks you have on the door. You were probably feeling really secure a minute ago because of the things you have in there, but just put $1 million of gold inside in a system where everything just failed, every company, every market, the government, everything. To be blunt, imagine how many people you're going to have to shoot before they shoot you to get that gold. That's the only scenario in which this type of planning would make sense. And as you can see, it doesn't make a lot of sense in that scenario either. So now you need a bunker. You need small arms, ammunition, and if you're going to be realistic, an army to protect it. You need to be in a castle on a hill with a drawbridge and a moat. And don't forget those alligators. Even if you sold all of your gold to prepare for that, you're going to be like 99% of people. You still can't afford to put all that together. So even though going to gold makes people feel safe because gold has historically gone up a little bit during downturns, why did it go up? Do shiny rocks become shinier? Do people buy more expensive watches? No. It went up because more people wanted the gold commodity because they believed false evidence that gold is safe. But it was only safe because people in their emotions deemed it safe. Just like people deem Bitcoin a great investment. Depending on when you're reading this, it has skyrocketed to a new level or plummeted to a new low. And I'm not putting down Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. That's not the point of this. It's just that because it's new and still being learned about and understood, it's very volatile. One day it's the savior of the world and the future of finance, and the next day it's worthless, and then back again. The truth is that only two things in life make money: companies and the government's printing presses. The second one is not exactly legal unless you're the government. Crypto is similar to your baseball or card collection. It's only worth what someone who values it is willing to pay for it in US dollars. That's not to put anyone down for being emotional about their money. What's more emotional than that? It represents safety, your ability to care for your loved ones, and often seems to be a referendum on our worth in this society. Those emotions are what we financial advisors help people get under wraps because we all have Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker inside of us, just waiting to come out. People get fearful because of what they see on the news or what they hear from a friend who seems to have the scoop. It's like the story of the wolf. The story goes that we have a good wolf and a bad wolf inside us, similar to the Star Wars analogy, and really, one that gets bigger is the one that we feed. When the two wolves are fighting each other, the one you feed will become the stronger one. So if you want to have less fear and more faith in the future, whether we're in an up market or a down market, you have to put the right fuel into your brain. If you're watching Fox or CNN or on any given night, they will successfully inject max fear into your brain. These may be different fears depending on the channel, but the model is the same. Scared people feel like they need to stay tuned to learn more. The point I make with my clients is that, especially in down markets, you don't want to let a nonstop stream of doom into your mind. All of that will just lead you to make one of the big bad mistakes. If you succumb, sell at a loss, stay out, come back in when things look bright and sunny again, all you did was book a big loss. That's going to take you a very long time to recover from. Many people, at this point, raise the white flag and surrender to low-interest savings accounts or CDs because they're emotionally scarred. They decide the market is not for them, and that's how you'll really lose. Timing the market is impossible. Staying in the market is the only way to win because investing is a long-term game. It's essential to have a strategy and stick to it regardless of short-term fluctuations. Things are not always as they seem. Switchbacks may seem like a long way up a hill, and they're often easier than biking straight up. This is a great investment example and illustration. Everyone has their own unique financial situation, and sometimes the path to financial security is not a straight line. For example, a client with a non traditional career path may have to catch up on retirement contributions later in life, but with the right strategy, they can still achieve their financial goals. This reminds me of a story I'm fond of. A couple of angels were on assignment on Earth, and they needed a place to stay. They knocked on the rich guy's door, disguised to look like regular travelers. When he answered, they asked, "Can you put us up for the night? It's raining out here. It's been a rough day." The rich man said, "Sure, come on in." Because they were all wet, he put them in the basement. He said, "There's a little room down there. You'll be fine. There's a rack to hang up all your clothes, and there's some blankets on the shelf." So the angels went and snuggled in down there. It was a little damp, but they got through the night just fine. And in the middle of the night, the lead angel even repaired the hole in the wall that let the rain in. The young angel, the apprentice, said, "Why did you do that?" But the older angel didn't reply. The next day, they were still on assignment some distance away, and there was another thunderstorm. So again, they couldn't camp out under the stars. They needed shelter, and they knocked on a different door. This time, they were in the part of the town that was not really wealthy. A farmer came to the door. When they asked if they could stay, the farmer said, "Come on in. We don't have a lot of room, but we'll get you all cleaned up and dry. You look very weary from your journey. You can sleep in our bed. We'll sleep in the basement." The angels were delighted, and being in mortal bodies, were weary, so they agreed. The family gave them the last food that they had. Overnight, the senior angel killed their cow, the one they relied on for milk. The younger angel was furious. He demanded, "What is going on here? These people were amazing to us, and you killed their cow. It's horrible. Why did you do that?" The lead angel said, "Things aren't always as they seem." That wasn't enough for the young angel. He was incensed on their behalf. Of this modest family who had treated them so kindly, he said, "No, I'm done with this. No, no, more angel things for me. We're not even playing for the same team. What is going on here? Where is the justice in this?" Finally, the older angel, remembering that the young one did not have his breadth of experience, explained, "The first night, all the owners of the first house cared about was their gold and how much money they had. They were very concerned with appearances. They didn't turn us away because they didn't want a bad reputation in town. So they tolerated us and gave us the least they could. I sealed his vault so that they can never be found again. All of his gold is sealed off. That's what I did when I repaired his wall." The young angel, now a little less sure of himself, said, "Oh, okay, well, what about last night? You have to admit it was a bad thing to kill the poor family's cow." The lead angel went on, "Well, last night, the angel of death came for the farmer's wife. But because they'd been so kind to us, I gave him the cow instead. Things are not always as they seem, young one. Remember that." You've likely heard some variation of this story in which an assumption that people make on the face of a situation doesn't work out the way they expected. It's the same thing in markets. Things are not always as they seem. We need to make sure that we don't let too much fear in. It's important not to let too much bad news get us downtrodden and depressed, so we end up making a poor choice. And it's the same when markets are in the stratosphere. Everything is going great, and we can do no wrong. Eventually, things will reverse, and we want to keep steady an investment strategy so that we can weather those dips along the way to reach our goal. Practice, practice, practice. Just like practicing your bike skills makes your ride more comfortable, contributing to your investments regularly is a powerful tool for financial security. Dollar cost averaging is a great way to make contributions to each payroll period and increase your financial security over time. Finding ways to make ongoing contributions more achievable, like the proverbial cutting back on the daily latte purchases, can be helpful. Where there's a will to invest, there's a way. My clients often get hooked on finding ways to maximize their 401ks. Even if you start small, you can get to where you want to go over time. It's never too late. The mistake is not getting started at all.